Hello. On the morning of July 5th, 2017, in a lavish Bangkok mansion, a man sat intently in front of his laptop screen. Known only as Alpha 2 in the hidden depths of the dark web, his identity was shrouded in mystery. His life was the epitome of luxury. A millionaire with an extravagant car collection and vast wealth spread across Thailand. To him, he was untouchable, a king in his own right. But fate had different plans. Suddenly, an ear-splitting crash rang out from the front gate, jolting him from his screen. A Toyota Camry had just rammed straight into the gate of his mansion. Startled, he rushed away from his computer to see what had happened. But it was a fatal mistake. The woman inside the car wasn't just a victim of a random accident. She was an expertly trained agent of the Royal Thai Police. Behind this staged crash lay a meticulously crafted operation that had taken months of planning. The FBI and DEA had joined forces with law enforcement agencies from 7 countries in a coordinated effort to capture the dark web kingpin known as Alpha 2. In the early 2010s, the dark web exploded in popularity, fueled by 2 powerful factors: the promise of absolute anonymity and the rise of Bitcoin, a digital currency free from regulatory oversight. This became a fertile ground for criminals to conduct illegal business on an unprecedented scale, marking the beginning of a high-stakes cat-and-mouse game between cybercriminals and law enforcement. Perhaps the most infamous online black market was Silk Road, launched in February 2011, amassing over 100,000 users engaged in drug trafficking and quickly becoming a dark web icon. But after only 2 years, Silk Road's operator, Ross Ulbricht, was captured and sentenced to life in prison without parole, a powerful statement from authorities in the ongoing war on drugs. However, the enormous profits from illegal business were too tempting to deter others. With Silk Road's collapse, a host of new dark web markets sprang up, each vying for dominance. Silk Road 2.0 emerged just 35 days later, but barely lasted a year. Another formidable competitor, Evolution, used a sophisticated Bitcoin escrow system, achieving a scale rivaling that of Silk Road until its operators vanished, taking all users' money in a daring heist. Agora was seen as the true successor to the original Silk Road, but recognizing the mounting risks, its founders chose to shut down the platform in August 2015. The wave of scams, arrests, and shutdowns cleared the way for the rise of a new force in the dark web underworld, AlphaBay. In mid-2014, a mysterious figure under the alias Alpha 2 set out with ambitious plans to reshape the dark web's underground economy. After 5 months of careful preparation, his empire was finally born. Initially, AlphaBay operated modestly, focusing on the sale of stolen credit card data. But Alpha 2 had a vision that extended far beyond that. His platform rapidly expanded to offer highly profitable products, from drugs, weapons, and malware to sophisticated money laundering services. While AlphaBay was known for its virtually unrestricted black market trade, it still enforced strict red lines, banning all content related to child exploitation, hit-and-run services, and notably stolen Russian bank account information. This could imply 2 possibilities. Either Alpha 2 wanted to avoid clashing with Russian law enforcement, or this was a clever tactic to mislead investigators into thinking he was of Russian origin. AlphaBay was designed with a user-friendly interface that rivaled Amazon. Users could easily search for products through detailed filters and categories. The platform accepted various cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Monero, and Ethereum, bolstering anonymity. AlphaBay also employed a special tool called Tumbler, a system that blended multiple transactions from different users, making it nearly impossible to trace any single transaction. AlphaBay's dominance on the dark web was undeniable. While competitors appeared and fell one after another, Alpha 2's empire continued to stand strong and flourish. Within just a year of operation, the platform had attracted over 200,000 users and 40,000 vendors. By 2017, AlphaBay had grown into a massive empire, boasting over 300,000 listings and raking in daily revenue exceeding $500,000 with a commission of 2 to 4% per transaction. Alpha 2 rapidly amassed wealth from managing this immense enterprise. To maintain and operate this complex machinery, Alpha 2 assembled a professional team, including representatives, a dispute resolution team to mediate between buyers and sellers, and a PR expert. As the empire settled into smooth operation, Alpha 2 decided to step into the background, changing his alias to admin and only communicating through his representatives. This retreat only heightened the determination of U.S. investigators to uncover the true identity of the mastermind behind AlphaBay. A global manhunt ensued with the initial goal of locating AlphaBay's servers. If investigators could gain access to the servers, they could either shut down the platform or discreetly infiltrate it to trace the location of those running this massive criminal operation. However, tracking on the Tor network posed immense challenges. Every access request was routed through a series of random servers worldwide, creating a virtual maze that was nearly impossible to decode. Investigators faced the daunting task of identifying AlphaBay's servers, operators and vendors in a system carefully designed to erase all traces. To break through this secrecy, they had to switch strategies, infiltrating the platform as anonymous buyers, meticulously searching for any slip-ups from the vendor's side. A stray postal stamp or a tiny detail on a package could lead to clues about the true identities of the dealers. Yet arresting minor sellers was like cutting off one tentacle of the giant octopus while the head of the beast, Alpha 2, remained hidden in the shadows. Every effort seemed futile against a foe who mastered every rule of the cat-and-mouse game. But then one day in December 2016, a stroke of luck finally smiled on Robert Miller, a DEA agent in Fresno, California. In his email inbox appeared a mysterious message from an anonymous informant revealing a critical error Alpha 2 had made in AlphaBay's early days. Alpha 2's real email address had accidentally been exposed in the metadata of the welcome emails sent to new users. Although this error was immediately corrected, the informant had saved one of these early emails. It was possible that this informant was an early AlphaBay customer or perhaps a competitor who had patiently waited for the chance to expose this secret. That email address became the first piece in the puzzle of Alpha 2's real identity. From there, investigators tracked down photos dating back to 2008 and 2009 of a person named Alex on the social network Skyrock.com. An old dating profile also revealed that he was from Trois-Rivières, a city in southern Quebec, Canada. At that time, Alex was just 17, matching the number 91 in the email address, which was likely his birth year. This meant that when AlphaBay was founded, its creator was only 23 years old. The next major clue came from a tech forum where Alpha 2's account once posted a guide on how to remove viruses from images. Back in 2008, in a quiet corner of the internet, Alexander Cases had unwittingly exposed his email address and real name. With this identity in hand, investigators quickly broadened their search. A PayPal account linked to Cases led them to his LinkedIn profile, revealing that he was a freelance programmer and founder of a tech company, EBX Technologies. On the Facebook page of Cases' Thai fiancé, investigators found the final piece. The Canadian kingpin was now living in Thailand. The hunt was narrowed down to Bangkok, the capital of Thailand. With assistance from local authorities, investigators discovered that Cases owned 3 properties in the area: a luxury home in an upscale compound where he lived with his wife, another house within the city, and notably a lavish $3 million villa on the outskirts of Bangkok. Cases' real estate empire extended beyond Bangkok, including a holiday mansion in the tourist paradise of Phuket and another villa under acquisition in Cyprus, all underscoring the vast wealth of this dark web kingpin. His opulent lifestyle was on full display, with a fleet of luxury cars, including a Lamborghini, frequently seen on Bangkok streets. Agents closely monitored Cases' every move, tracking his travel routes and his iPhone signal. During the investigation, they discovered another telling detail. Although he lived with his wife in their luxury home, Cases maintained a separate apartment for rendezvous with multiple lovers. He was an active member of forums like PUA, Pickup Artist, where he posted under the alias Romeo, often expressing conservative family values while bragging about his exploits in misogynistic blog posts. Beyond these flamboyant and indulgent activities, Cases' daily life was surprisingly routine. He typically rose early, spent time on social media, worked from home, and rarely went out except for language lessons or occasional dinners with his wife. These regular habits allowed law enforcement to carefully plan an elaborate arrest operation, ready for any potential confrontation. In June 2017, just weeks before the planned capture, American agents were unexpectedly met with a nerve-wracking surprise in the lobby of the 5-star Athene Hotel in Bangkok. Alexander Kazes himself appeared parking his Porsche Panamera right at the entrance and strolling into the lobby, headed directly toward the agents. In the sea of hotels across Bangkok, this coincidence left them wondering if they had been discovered. The tense moment passed without incident as their target sat just meters away from them. It turned out to be merely a business meeting. No one could have guessed that just a month later Kazes' fate would be sealed. By this time, AlphaBay had grown into the largest dark web marketplace globally, yet it still faced stiff competition, especially from Handsome Market, which was gaining traction in Europe. Thanks to a tip from a cybersecurity expert, Dutch investigators had located Handsome Market's server in a domestic data center. They discreetly monitored it, copying data and analyzing chat logs, ultimately identifying the German operators behind the platform. Dutch police and the German Federal Criminal Police Office, BKA, were preparing to take over Handsome Market when suddenly the platform vanished from Dutch servers, likely because the administrators realized they were under surveillance. However, Bitcoin addresses found in chat logs led investigators to a Dutch cryptocurrency exchange, which then pointed them toward Lithuania. Just as European authorities were preparing their offensive, the FBI announced its plans to apprehend Alpha 2 and shut down AlphaBay. This operation involved coordination between law enforcement agencies from 7 countries and Europol. However, the FBI was requested to delay Alpha 2's arrest and the closure of AlphaBay until the Dutch-German alliance could secure control of Handsome Market, setting up a flawless trap for the dark web underworld. The strategy was remarkably sophisticated. Once AlphaBay went offline, users and sellers would naturally migrate to Handsome Market, as happens whenever a major platform collapses on the dark web. But this time they would be unknowingly walking into a trap, a site now under Dutch police control, allowing authorities to quietly collect evidence and build cases against thousands of criminals without their knowledge. Meanwhile, in Bangkok, Kazes remained under the illusion of safety, continuing his lavish life with his Lamborghini, his meaningless forum posts, and his romantic escapades behind his wife's back. June 20th, 2017 marked the first success in this operation as Dutch forces raided a data center in Lithuania, while German police swiftly apprehended 2 administrators of Handsome Market in the cities of Siegen and Cologne. The underworld remained oblivious that Handsome Market had now fallen into the hands of Dutch authorities. Then came the decisive moment on July 5th, 2017 in Bangkok. With an arrest warrant in hand, the Thai Royal Police, DEA, and FBI coalition were prepared to capture Alpha 2 after more than 2 years of patient surveillance. A gray Toyota Camry driven by a Thai female agent approached the dead-end street leading to Alexander Kazes' home, pretending to have made a wrong turn. She intentionally caused a minor collision, a tactic meant to lure Kazes out without giving him time to lock his devices. The priority was accessing his electronics in an open, unencrypted state to secure entry into AlphaBay's system. As Kazes stepped outside to check the accident, holding his phone, officers quickly emerged. He attempted to dash back inside, possibly to secure his computer, but was subdued before he could make it. Investigators immediately stormed his bedroom, where they found his laptop still open with Alpha 2 logged into AlphaBay's server system. They secured all administrator passwords and server information for the site. The Canadian kingpin's assets, worth around $23 million, including luxury cars, real estate, a hotel, and millions in cryptocurrency were seized. His Thai wife was also charged with money laundering. The tragedy unfolded on July 12th. 2017, when Kazes was found to have taken his own life in jail. The king of the dark web ended his life in despair, leaving behind a host of unresolved questions. Authorities kept the closure of AlphaBay quiet, allowing rumors to spread across the dark web as users speculated. Was this an exit scam, a hacking incident, or had the operators simply faded into the shadows? As anticipated by investigators, a flood of panicked users surged toward other platforms, including Handsome Market, unaware they were walking straight into a meticulously set government trap. Over the next 4 weeks, Dutch authorities silently monitored and collected evidence from thousands of illegal transactions taking place on Handsome Market. By July 20th, 2017, the drama reached its end as Handsome Market officially shut down. That same day, the U.S. Department of Justice announced a spectacular double victory: the simultaneous takedown of both AlphaBay and Handsome Market. An unprecedented triumph in the global fight against cybercrime. But the story doesn't end there. The dark web is not solely a tool for sinister purposes, it also serves as a critical refuge for journalists and whistleblowers who require anonymity to carry out their work. Nonetheless, illegal marketplaces like AlphaBay remain an inseparable part of this ecosystem. The struggle between law enforcement and cybercriminals seems set to continue. As long as the demand for illegal goods such as drugs, weapons, counterfeit money, and malware persists, AlphaBay enhanced a market soon faded from memory as users migrated to newer platforms. More sophisticated black markets emerged like Russia's Hydra, which grew to be twice the size of AlphaBay but was eventually shut down by German and U.S. authorities in 2021. Now the race for the crown of the dark web has resumed. One prominent figure, The Snake, revived AlphaBay in 2021 and continues to operate this underground marketplace to this day. The endless battle between law enforcement and cybercriminals presses on becoming ever more complex and unpredictable. The content of this story is intended for information and educational purposes and does not glorify or romanticize criminal activities. In the dim light of dawn on April 5th, 2004, while most of the people in Stavanger were still deep in sleep, a dark nightmare suddenly descended. A group of masked raiders, donned in bulletproof vests and wielding modern weapons like fully armed phantoms, stormed the cash-counting center with the precision and sophistication of an elite military unit. In a flash of violence and chaos, millions of kroner were swept away in a matter of minutes, marking the largest cash heist in Norwegian history. In that fleeting moment, the lives of many were forever changed, and the city of Stavanger plunged into a state of shock and horror, stunned by the audacity and ruthlessness of the criminals. Behind this terrifying heist was none other than David Tosca, the mastermind whose criminal history stretched back to the 1980s. Linked to the notorious Twitter gang, Tosca was known for his cunning strategies, making him a persistent nightmare for the police. At his side was Kjell Auric Schumann, known as the Shadow for his ability to disappear without leaving any trace whenever he operated. These men were no strangers to the criminal world with a rap sheet that seemed endless. Before the historic Nokas robbery, there had already been ominous signs of a looming crime spree. The failed robbery at the Norwegian post office in Oslo on October 27, 2003 was the roar before the storm. Though meticulously planned, but the robbers only managed to seize a fraction of the expected haul due to the delayed arrival of the cash. However, this failed heist was merely the first step in a larger, bolder scheme brewing in the shadows. As winter 2004 drew near, Tosca and his crew meticulously planned every move. They scouted weapon purchase locations and even conducted practice drives to ensure there were no flaws in their escape route. Tosca rented houses in Sands and Stavanger, positioning himself strategically for the operation. Meanwhile, Schumann established a base in Hungvag, creating a solid criminal network, where no detail was overlooked in their preparations. Then the moment of horror arrived. At exactly 8 a.m., the stage was set for the grand performance. A white truck engulfed in flames like a living nightmare distracted the police outside the station. Seizing the moment, the robbers broke into the cash-counting center, smashing through the fortified doors with sledgehammers and specialized tools. Their intent was clear: to steal a massive fortune and vanish without a trace. But the robbers' seemingly flawless plan quickly hit unexpected obstacles. The bulletproof glass at the counting center, which they assumed would be easy to break, proved to be much tougher than anticipated. Each heavy swing of the sledgehammer only made the glass shudder, but it refused to crack. Time ticked away, every second feeling like a drumbeat of tension as the robbers realized they were now 8 minutes behind their original schedule. The pressure mounted as they knew time was no longer on their side. While they struggled with the unforeseen challenges, flashing lights and the blare of police sirens shattered the silence of the church square. Officers Eric Holland and Stefan Nissan, in their Volvo patrol car, screeched to a halt. They quickly took positions hiding behind cover, ready for the inevitable showdown. Yet in the lurking shadows of chaos, everything unfolded too quickly for anyone to fully comprehend what was happening. Inside the vault, the masked robbers stuffed bags with millions of kroner, and the number kept climbing rapidly, reaching 57.4 million in just a few short minutes. Outside, Kjell Ulrik Schumann stepped out of the Nokas building unaware that he was about to walk straight into a storm of violence. Only 2 minutes later, the air was thick with tension as undercover officer Fred Schirling, dressed in civilian clothes, confronted Schumann. Schumann coldly pointed his AG-3 rifle at Fred and asked a question that felt like a death sentence. "Who are you?" Fred Schirling stood still, fully aware of the gravity of the situation. With his hands raised high, he hoped for a compromise, but it seemed like fate had already decided. Gunfire erupted like thunder, shattering the peaceful morning air. The robbers and the police clashed in a deadly battle. Bullets whizzed through the air, and flashes of gunfire lit up the scene, turning the bold robbery into a bloody confrontation between the gang and law enforcement. In the midst of the violent hail of bullets, tragedy struck when Police Chief Arne Sig Klungland was shot. A man who had dedicated his life to upholding the law fell instantly, a victim of the senseless violence unleashed by the robbers. His death shocked the entire city, serving as a grim reminder of the high price paid in the defense of justice against ruthless forces. Klungland's sacrifice did not dampen the resolve of the police. On the contrary, it ignited a fierce determination to hunt down the robbers at all costs. An unprecedented manhunt in Norwegian history was launched immediately, with every available resource deployed in relentless pursuit. Yet like ghosts in the night, the robbers vanished before the police could capture them. Along with them disappeared a staggering sum of nearly 10 million US, leaving an indelible scar on the city of Stavanger. The once peaceful streets of Stavanger quickly turned into a battleground as police intensified their search for the robbers. No corner was left unchecked, and the entire city was gripped by tension and suspense. The authorities spared no effort in restoring order after the most audacious robbery in Norway's history. Law enforcement launched an unwavering manhunt, using every modern tool available to trace the culprits. Dramatic raids followed one after another, with every suspected house and apartment meticulously searched as though a giant net was tightening around the criminals. Feeling the mounting pressure from the police, the robbers found themselves cornered with no way out. One by one, suspects were arrested in a series of meticulously coordinated operations. With unwavering determination, the police steadily closed in on their target, ensuring that every criminal would be brought to justice. The investigation gradually painted a full picture of the robbery as crucial evidence began to emerge, and each clue became a terrifying piece of the puzzle. Forensic analysis of clothing left at the scene, discarded weapons during the robbers' escape, and surveillance footage from security cameras gradually revealed the identities of those behind the heist. Crucially, DNA traces provided undeniable evidence that quickly sealed the case. One by one, the robbers found themselves with nowhere left to hide as justice closed in. The wheels of justice continued to turn as the suspects were brought to trial, with the entire nation following every dramatic development. The prosecution built a compelling case armed with a mountain of strong evidence and detailed testimonies from witnesses. Surveillance footage captured every moment from the start to the brutal end of the robbery, painting a clear picture of the defendant's guilt. No detail was overlooked, leaving no room for doubt. In the end, justice prevailed, and the robbers faced appropriate sentences, receiving the harshest punishments. In total, 13 individuals were charged, with mastermind David Tosca receiving the longest sentence, 21 years in prison. Tosca, considered the leader of the gang, admitted his role in the robbery, but denied involvement in the death of Officer Klungland. However, his dark past did not stop there, as Tosca faced additional charges related to a bank robbery in Bryn and the Oslo postal heist in 2003. Meanwhile, Johnny Thindrup, another key figure, admitted he was caught in the crossfire during the shootout. His confession not only added more drama to the case, but also revealed previously unknown details. However, the biggest shock came 2 years later when Kjell Ulrik Schumann, a member of the gang, unexpectedly confessed that he was the one who pulled the trigger, killing Officer Klungland. DNA evidence found on a scarf and a partially burned mattress from the getaway vehicle which they had attempted to destroy linked Schumann to the crime scene. Ironically, the robbers had inadvertently given themselves away by leaving crucial evidence right at the doorstep of the police station. The aftermath of the Nokas robbery was not just about financial losses, it shook Norway's entire legal system. March 2006 was a dark day for the criminals as the court sentenced 13 individuals to a combined 181 years in prison. The story didn't end there. With the heaviest sentence, David Tosca still carried with him unanswered mysteries. Was someone else behind this horrifying heist? 1 year later, in January 2007, a new legal storm erupted when the appeals court upheld the verdicts for 12 of the robbers but Thomas Thendrup. The 13th member faced a dramatic turning point. Although he was acquitted by the jury, but Norway's appeal laws allowed the judges to overturn the decision, sending Thendrup back to trial. This immediately ignited a fierce wave of controversy, shaking public trust in the justice system. Eventually, Thendrup faced a new trial and was sentenced to 14 years in prison in September 2007, a dramatic and unpredictable conclusion. However, the story didn't stop there. In June 2007, Norway's Supreme Court added another 27 years to the total sentences for the defendants. Amid the still ongoing debate, Hikmet K., another criminal involved in the heist, continued to adamantly proclaim his innocence. Although the police believed he helped the robbers escape, Hikmet claimed he was only in Stavanger for a drug deal. Despite accepting the sentence, but he consistently expressed regret and appealed, arguing that he was convicted of a crime he didn't commit. The legal battle was not just about justice for the criminals, it also left a tremendous financial burden on Norway. The investigation and prosecution costs reached 160 million kroner, but the stolen money was never fully recovered. Only 7 million kroner of the stolen amount was retrieved, representing a significant loss for the country. The statistics from the case were staggering. In a single event, Norwegian police fired more than 50 shots, nearly 2/3 of the total rounds they had fired in the previous several decades. The 2004 Nokas robbery wasn't just an ordinary crime, it served as a stark warning about the severity of violence, leaving Norway from Stavanger to other cities gripped with anxiety and fear. The consequences of the robbery were not just about lost money or tarnished reputations. The families of the victims bore the ultimate pain, their lives forever altered by the senseless cruelty of such violence. The tragic death of Police Chief Arne Sigve Klungland left not only an immense sadness, but also a scar that can never be erased from the hearts of the community. The peaceful streets of Stavanger, once a symbol of tranquility, were now shadowed by fear and loss. This event not only exposed weaknesses in law enforcement's security system, but also spurred significant changes. Protective measures were reinforced, and a series of reforms were implemented to ensure that no similar incident could happen in the future. The Nokas robbery also highlighted the alarming rise of organized crime, underscoring once again that the battle against the criminal underworld remains long and challenging. In the years that followed, the Stavanger community held numerous memorial ceremonies to honor those who had fallen. These solemn events were a tribute to their sacrifice, reminding everyone that although time passes, the memory of the 3 victims, including Officer Klungland, will never be forgotten. The wounds from the Nokas robbery have gradually healed. Norway has risen stronger and more united. The lessons from this heist became the driving force behind stricter security measures, better preparing the nation for any future threats. The Nokas robbery, marked by violence and loss, has become a haunting memory in Norway, reminding the entire country of the fragility of peace and order. The lasting scars left by the robbery will forever serve as a warning about the terrible price of greed and uncontrolled violence. How did you feel about this story? Leave your thoughts in the comments below for others to see. Don't forget to like and subscribe to support the channel. Thank you for watching. See you next time.